What? Another remake to a beloved classic, and it's by Micheal Bay? No! I'm the Slash Me Review, and this is my review of the remake of A Nightmare on Elm Street. A Nightmare on Elm Street stars Jackie Earle Haley, Watchmen, Kyle Gallner, Jennifer's Body, The Haunting in Connecticut, and Katie Cassidy from Black Christmas Remake. And it, as you might know, if you have never heard of it, which is weird, a group of friends all have the same dream of a burned man who has knives for fingers, who goes by the name of Freddy Krueger. Brings back sweet memories of when I watched the first one. Well, surprisingly, A Nightmare on Elm Street is it's a pretty good flick, actually. I mean, I was so looking forward to slamming this movie. I mean, I'm normally a person who's not really fond of remakes and stuff like that. Man, but I was just so looking forward to smashing this film. I mean, you know, after the Friday the 13th remake, I was just like, yes! I mean, I didn't think it was going to be as bad as the Friday the 13th remake when I found out that there was no boobs and sex in this film and not overused language, which was something that I was glad to see. I mean, you got some language in it, but it's actually used in a respectable way, not like Friday the 13th when they were just like, yo, F you. Yo, this is the, you know. No, it totally takes me out of the film half the time. It kills the mood. It's just not realistic. But you know, and that's what makes this film actually good. It's not jammed with sex and boobs and all that stuff. It seems like they actually wanted to make a scary film, and they did just that. And I mean, don't get me wrong. There are a ton of flaws in this film. Like, some of the people cannot act. I mean, stuff in there. Like, there's some cliche scenes. Like, come on. There's some problems in the writing, a couple of spots, but they surprisingly got a few things right. And those things they got right make a huge difference. The first thing being is there's actually a couple of good scares in A Nightmare on Elm Street. I mean, you're still slammed with a couple of cliched scares, cheap scares, some that are more like, wah! And, boom, boom, boom. Cheap jump scares, just to get people jump, and they're cheap. So, but I mean, there's some scenes in here that do play tribute to the original that I really do like. Like, there's a scene in this film that our young friend Katie Cassidy has that where she's like in her bedroom, and it's so plays tribute to the original, if I may add, where she's like tossed around her room and stuff like that, and she's fighting off Freddy, trying to wake up and stuff like that, and I love it. It's like they take what they like, what was so good about the original, and they build off of it. They don't try to be a straight copycat of the original like the Psycho remake was, and I like that. But I want to mention this. For some reason why, I just love it in a horror film when a woman gets dragged or tossed in a room and she's like, woo! I mean, something about that. I just go, yes! It's like one of my favorite things to see in this film. So I cheered when I saw that. Yeah. I mean, plus there's also this one scene in this film where, like, our girl Nancy is like chasing after Freddy. It's a dream, and she's running down the hallway, and slowly she starts falling and stuff like that, and the hallway starts turning into this like pool of blood and stuff like that. I mean, these nightmares are pretty creative and stuff like that. I mean, when the best and that I really enjoyed. I mean, the best parts of this film are the scares and stuff like that. I mean, when they're sitting there trying to give us all the juicy details and the stuff like that, that's when there's some cliches and stuff like that. And you know, come on. But still, it's a pretty good film. I mean, another thing I really enjoyed about this film was the backstory. Backstory about Freddy Krueger. We actually get they talk more about the event that took place back in the day, while in the original one they just sort of hinted at it and just moved on. I really like that they build off of that, and that actually in a way sort of plays as a character in this film. I really did enjoy that. Plus Freddy actually looks like a burned victim. I mean, some people were telling me they didn't like the new look of Freddy, and you know, because I think they were just so used to the classic look that Wes Craven had, and that, you know, they couldn't get over the new look. I mean, Freddy actually looks like a burned victim. So honestly, I was cool with it. You know, I actually liked that. Plus, I think Jackie Earle Haley was a perfectly cast as our Freddy Krueger. I mean, he really, really was good in this film. And I mean, everybody else was sort of decent. You know, there was a couple of like, oh my God, why did they cast them? But luckily, we didn't have to see them very long. Overall, A Nightmare on Elm Street it's a pretty good flick to watch. I mean, it's a good flick to watch on a Halloween style night when you've got nothing else to watch. So I'm giving A Nightmare on Elm Street a 3.5 out of 5. I'm the Slasher Movie Reviewer, and you just been slashed.